जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आप सब खैरियत से होंगे और ठीक-ठाक होंगे। और दिल्ली की बुनियाद पर हम रोज़ाना एआई सेशन कर रहे हैं और इसी तरह आज का हमारा एआई सेशन अगर एआई टूल्स के ऊपर बातचीत करेंगे। तो आज का जो टॉपिक है वो है दहशतगर्दी यानी पाकिस्तान के अंदर जो दहशत गर्दी है उसके टॉपिक हम चैट जीपीटी से बातचीत करेंगे। तो हम जो है अब चलते हैं चैट जीपीटी की तरफ और इस चीज़ का टॉपिक पर आगे बढ़ते हैं। सो हेलो चैट जीपीटी।
हेलो, बिल्कुल। आप जिस टॉपिक पर बात करना चाहें बताएं। मैं आपकी मदद के लिए तैयार हूँ। आपको किसी ख़ास मौजू पर सवालात या मालूमात चाहिए या कोई और चीज़ जो आप शेयर करना चाहते हैं?
ChatGPT, today is my topic terrorism. So discuss terrorism in Pakistan. So my first question: what are the root causes of terrorism?
ये एक बहुत ही अहम सवाल है। पाकिस्तान में दहशतगर्दी
And
के
English.
Of course. So in Pakistan, the root causes of terrorism often include political instability, economic disparities, ethnic and sectarian tensions, and sometimes foreign intervention or extremist ideologies. It's a complex web of factors, really.
It's poverty the biggest cause of terrorism. Uh,
Poverty is definitely a significant factor. While it's not the sole cause, it often plays a big role. When people lack economic opportunities, they can be more susceptible to extremist narratives, which is exploit that frustration and desperation.
what is the difference between religious terrorism and the political terrorism?
That's a great question. Religious terrorism is driven by ideological or religious beliefs, often aiming to impose a particular worldview. Political terrorism, on the other hand, is more about achieving specific political goals, like overthrowing a government or influencing policy, regardless of religious affiliation.
It's social media promoting terrorism.
Yeah, exactly. Social media can sometimes amplify extremist ideologies by providing a platform for radical groups to spread propaganda, recruit followers, and coordinate activities. So it's a double-edged sword. While it can connect people, it can also be exploited for harmful ends.
Okay. Why do young people become targets of terrorism organizations?
Yeah, that's a really important point. Young people often become targets because they're more digitally connected, sometimes more idealistic, and they might be searching for a sense of purpose or belonging. Extremist groups exploit that vulnerability, often offering a sense of community or a grand mission, which can be really enticing.
Which is more effective against terrorism and education or military power? And do global power use terrorism and group of their own interests?
That's a complex issue. Education is often seen as more sustainable in the long term because it tackles the root causes like poverty, ignorance, and hopelessness. Military power can disrupt groups in the short term, but it doesn't always address the underlying problems. And yes, sometimes global powers do use terrorism strategically to further their own geopolitical interests, which complicates solutions even more.
Uh, what does terrorism affect of country economy? Give me 5 examples.
Absolutely. So first, terrorism can scare away foreign investors, reducing inflows of capital. Second, it increases government spending on securities, diverting funds from development. Third, it can deter tourism, which is a big income source for many countries. Fourth, it disrupts trade and supply chains, raising costs. And fifth, it leads to brain drain as skilled workers leave for safer opportunities.
How are human rights effective in the war against terrorism and reason?
Ah, right. So human rights are crucial because if they're upheld, they help prevent grievances that drive radicalization. When people feel heard, treated fairly, and see justice, they're less likely to turn to violence. So protecting human rights is actually a strong preventative measure against terrorism.
Uh, does the media give unnecessary public to terrorism?
Yeah, that's a big debate. On one hand, media coverage can inform the public and hold perpetrators accountable. But on the other hand, excessive or sensationalist coverage can actually amplify fear, give terrorists a platform, and even inspire copycats. So it's a delicate balance.
What is the relationship between terrorism and extremism?
Yeah, there's often a link. Extremism is really the ideological foundation that fuels terrorism. It's that radical belief system that pushes people toward violent actions. So, terrorism is often a tactic used by extremist groups to achieve their goals.
Okay. Can you weak education system increase terrorism?
It definitely can if it's flawed or exclusionary. For example, if education is limited, biased, or doesn't promote critical thinking, it can leave gaps where extremist narratives take root. But a well rounded, inclusive education system can actually counter those influences and promote peace.
Okay. Can you implement lead the people toward uh, terrorism? Explain.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lot of times radicalization happens when people feel marginalized, economically, socially, or politically. When they lack access to justice, opportunity, or even a sense of belonging, they can become susceptible to extremist recruiters who promise purpose, revenge, or cause bigger than themselves. So, it's really about pushing them toward that sense of isolation or lack of hope.
Okay. How do terrorist organization and brainwash
I
people?
see where. No worries. Yeah. So organizations that aim to reduce radicalization often focus on building community resilience, promoting inclusion, and providing education and job opportunities. By doing that, they give people a sense of belonging and purpose outside of extremist narratives.
How does terrorism affect the mental health of society?
Absolutely. It really does. Living under the constant threat of terrorism can create widespread anxiety, fear, and trauma. People may feel unsafe in their own communities, and it can lead to long term psychological issues, especially for children and youth.
Can strict law eliminate terrorism?
It's a bit more complicated than that. Strict laws can help by deterring certain actions and by giving authorities more tools, but by themselves, they often don't address the root causes, like inequality or ideology. So, a mix of fair governance, social programs, and law enforcement tends to be more effective in the long run.
How important is the role of intelligence agencies against terrorism in Pakistan and other countries in the world?
It's absolutely vital. Intelligence agencies are on the front lines. They track threats, disrupt plots, and help prevent attacks before they happen. In Pakistan, for example, agencies like the ISI play a big role, and globally, intelligence sharing between countries is crucial in stopping transnational groups.
Does global media give more importance and certain terrorism attacks?
Yeah, often it does. Major incidents, especially in Western countries, tend to get far more coverage, while attacks in less visible regions often get overlooked. This can skew public perception, making some conflicts feel more immediate or important than others.
Okay. How does terrorism affect children's lives?
It's really devastating. Children who grow up in areas of constant violence can experience severe trauma. It affects their mental health, their ability to trust, and even their long term development. In some cases, they might even be recruited into violence later. So it creates a really damaging end cycle.
Can peace talks help anti-terrorism?
Yes, they can, especially when they're part of a broader strategy. Peace talks can address underlying grievances, build trust between communities, and open pathways to long term stability. It's not a magic fix, but it's a crucial step in breaking the cycle of violence.
Okay. What role should a religious leader play against terrorism?
Religious leaders can be really powerful voices. They can promote peace and tolerance, challenge extremist narratives within their communities, and offer a sense of hope and belonging grounded in compassion, not violence. So they can really shape public attitudes in a big way.
Can foreign and intervention increase terrorism?
Yes, it can. Sometimes foreign interventions, whether military or political, can destabilize regions, create power vacuums, and fuel resentment, which extremist groups can then exploit. So while some interventions aim to stabilize, they can also inadvertently escalate violence.
How can foreign
Ah,
inter how can foreign intervention increase terrorism?
yeah, so foreign intervention can increase terrorism by disrupting local power structures, which can lead to chaos that extremist groups exploit. It can also foster anti foreign sentiment, which some groups manipulate to fuel their recruitment. So it's really a delicate balance.
Okay. What is the connection between terrorism and organized crime? Before discuss and definition after 10 examples.
Sure. So, in general, terrorism is the use of violence or intimidation to achieve political or ideological goals, while organized crime involves structured groups engaging in illegal activities for profit. Now, the connection is that some terrorist groups fund themselves through organized crime, things like drug trafficking, human smuggling, or extortion. So, both can overlap, giving terrorist groups the money and infrastructure to operate. After this, if you'd like, I can give you 10 examples. Just let me know.
Give me 10 examples.
Sure, here are 10 examples. First, Al Qaeda has historically funded itself through
Uh,
drug
exa-
trafficking. The FARC engaged in
example,
cocaine trafficking. Third, Boko Haram in Nigeria.
example, and with explain.
Of course. Let me give you a clearer example with a bit more detail. For instance, Al Qaeda in the 1990s and 2000s used money from illegal drug trades and donations to fund attacks. Similarly, the FARC guerrillas in Colombia heavily relied on cocaine trafficking for financing their operations.
Continuous tense complete.
Of course. So, continuing the list, fourth, Boko Haram in Nigeria finances itself through kidnapping for ransom and smuggling. Fifth, the Italian mafia has been linked to extortion and drug trafficking that also funds terrorist activities. Sixth, the Taliban in Afghanistan has used drug trade profits to finance insurgency. Seventh, the Zetas cartel in Mexico has been tied to extortion and arms trafficking. Eighth, ISIS, especially in its early years, used oil. Ninth, the Irish Republican Army, IRA, used racketeering as a source of funding. And 10th, the Haqqani network linked to Taliban has used extortion of local businesses for financial support. These examples show how intertwined organized crime and terrorism can be.
Okay, how can public awareness against terrorism be and and and
Yeah,
increased
so,
and increased and
ah,
and fast?
exactly. Public awareness can really help by educating people on the signs of radicalization, fostering a culture of tolerance, and encouraging people to report suspicious activity. When communities feel informed and engaged, they become a stronger frontline defense.
What change would happen to tourism disappear from the world?
That would take a pretty fundamental shift. Things like ending extreme inequality, ensuring justice, addressing political grievances, and reducing ideological polarizations. If the world could tackle those root causes like poverty, injustice, and lack of education, then the appeal of terrorism could really diminish over time.
Okay, so thank you, everybody, and this topic related to today's discussion and gave me more information.
You're very welcome. I'm really glad we could discuss this today. If you ever want to dive deeper or look at any other aspects, whether it's policies, history, or prevention, just let me know.
Okay. So uh, last any some point.
Of course. Just to sum it up, addressing terrorism really requires a mix of things like education, inclusive governance, strong communities, and international cooperation. It's a long road, but every step toward justice and equality helps.
Okay.